Alrighty, Shabbat Shalom, Miss Pakadas, Morey Medea Yahoo. I want to welcome you to another live broadcast of My Living Branch. We are glad to be here, glad that you are here. We're going to get the things to rolling here shortly. Want to say Shabbat Shalom to all of my Miss Pakar out there. Really appreciate you joining in. And we were just asking everyone in the chat how everyone was doing. It seems like everyone is doing just fine on this wonderful Shabbat. So we are thankful that the Father has allowed us to be in the land of the living and to see his goodness, because he didn't have to allow it. He didn't have to see us through, but he did. And we're thankful for our Maureen that are joining in. Appreciate it. Maury Kanan and Maury Lamont Yahoo. And Maury Yeshurun might not have said anything yet. He might be on. So we say Shabbat Shalom to all our Maureen. We appreciate you and all your efforts and things that you are doing for the kingdom. So we're going to pray, and then I wanted to just briefly tell you, just give you an encouraging story. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah Elohim Malach Haolam Torah Abihuah. We thank you for allowing us this chance and this opportunity to hear another lesson, to feast in your word, to get revelation, for us to grow some more in the Ruach, in our spirit, so that we are closer to you. Now I pray, Father, that you would cause us to mature, that we will make decisions and go in directions that are inspired by you, that reflects your will. There's nothing else but your will. And Father, I thank you for this opportunity to teach. I pray, Father, that as we continue to grow in your word, and as we get to the words that are going to be more challenging to us, that our hearts are ready and receptive so that we can continue to move forward and continue to fortify ourselves in you. We thank you now. We say Todah Rabbah in the name of Mashiach Yahusha. Hallel to Yahuwah. Amen. So I wanted to share with you, I won't give any specific names, but over the course of the before COVID even hit, I had the opportunity to walk with someone through their trial. And the reason I bring the story up is because during the trial, they didn't ask for the great escape that we all want, but it was a learning process. It was a growing process. And I saw them take advantage of the growing process and of the learning process, and not just desiring a Band-Aid fix or quick fix, because the situation was hard and difficult. But in it, they learned more about prayer. They learned more about fasting. They got to see how the Father works, and how really the whole midst of it wasn't so much about the circumstance, but it was about their growth. If they had not have went through it, then they would not have grown to the level that they have grown. And I was able to provide support as the Father allowed, and prophetic words as he gave it to me. And, sometimes those help to keep you, when all else, it's especially in the situation is failing. Then over the course of those years, finally, the Father starts showing some signs. Hey, it's time. You've grown, you've matured. It's time. And then the signs start coming forth. And it was challenging because sometimes when you've been in a trial so long, it makes it hard to see your way. And when the signs come forth, you might be in disbelief. But remember, he can do it in a day. He can do it in a second. He can do it in an hour. It's his appointed time. And so things started to reveal, and before you know it, bam, situation changed that quick. Father did what he said it would do. But the most important part of that whole scenario was the growth that person experienced, was the closeness that they gained through going through the trial. They gained so much more than the end result of the trial. It made them that much stronger. So, and I'm sharing that with you to encourage you. And that went on for 3 to 4 years. And going through it with COVID made it especially hard because, in different places, the rules were much stricter. So the avenues of escape were very few, if any. So just be encouraged. If you're going through been going through a trial for a long time, remember what I always say. He's not trying to change your situation. He's trying to change you. And once you connect the dots on that and you start to change, and when that change has permeated, because sometimes people only go through surface changes, but he's trying to change your complete character, your complete makeup to something different. And once that goes through, then you'll see your situation to change. So I hope that story was encouraging. It was a real story, and I am elated to the Father for what he has done in that situation. And he can do the same thing for you. All righty, so let's get to rolling here. We're still on our accountability. It won't be long, and we're going to get into the weeds. And that's where we're going to find some might get stuck. And I've been emphasizing to you, your accountability is one of two places. Either you're going to be accountable totally according to the tree of life, or you're going to have a mixture in your accountability, and your accountability is going to have a little bit of the knowledge of good and evil in it. And that's not good. We want to make sure that we only ground our accountability in the tree of life. Keep in here our model. We're still on Elohim and Mashiach, or Elohim, and now we're talking about the messenger to get a picture. And we'll probably finish, this will probably be the last one on the messenger. Then I will maybe do a lesson or two on Messiah and man. so that you can get that. But when we get to this one and the ones under here, this is where we're gonna get a little turbulence. And the reason we did Elohim and Messiah first was to give you a idea of how this is supposed to work, to give you a chart, to give you a focal point. This is how it's supposed to be. That when we come forward, we can go back and reference how it was laid out. What was the picture that Elohim and Messiah had, with Elohim being the head of Messiah? And use that picture to get a better idea of how we're going to work when we get down here with man and woman. Because I'm telling you, the narrative today is to make this upside down, sideways, any way but upright. So I was thinking, I was like, what makes accountability value? What is the thing in the middle between the instructions or the person that you're accountable to and you? What's in the middle of that? And as I was meditating, because usually what I like to do with my lessons, before I sit down to write, go through, I'll in my mind kind of walk out. And as I was walking this out, the Father, he led me to this particular thing. What's in the middle? And two words came to mind: worth and value. It's between the head and the one that's accountable. So just to give you, some perspective, worth and value, and I'm over here, are two related but distinct concepts that are often used interchangeably. However, there are subtle differences between the two. Worth refers to the monetary or material estimate of something. It is commonly associated with the price or cost of an item or an asset in market. Worth is determined by factors such as supply and demand, scarcity, utility, prevailing market conditions. For example, the worth of a car may be $20,000 based on its market value. But as you noticed, just to show you, a car might have been worth $20,000, but during COVID, used cars were hard to find. So what did that do to the worth of it? It took it far beyond. It was worth 20. That's what if you're reading the book value was, but it ended up selling 10,000 more, even though it was only worth 20,000. Okay, what is value? Value, on the other hand, is a broader concept that encompasses both monetary and non-monetary aspects. It refers to the inherent usefulness, importance, and significance of something. Worth is subjective and can vary from person to person based on individual preferences, needs, and perspectives. It can include factors such as emotional attachment, sentimental value, social impact, or personal satisfaction. For example, a family loom may have high sentimental value despite having little worth in monetary terms. So in summary, worth is typically associated with a financial or market value of something, while value is a broader concept that encompasses both tangible and intangible factors that contribute to its overall importance or usefulness. So when we're dealing with the lesson today, you'll see that the worth and value are high. How, if you're in a position where you have to be accountable, and we all are accountable at some level, your accountability is going to be based on the worth and the value that you hold for the words or instructions or that head that's over you that you're being accountable to. So if you take those words, instructions, or that head that's over you seriously, like Mashiach took the Father's words, then it's important for you to exhibit the utmost accountability. And accountability in words, accountability in action, and communication. And when I'm talking about communication, I'm talking about the communicative process, not just words here and there, but a constant flow. And your constant flow of communication is not dependent on how much the head or how many words or instructions the one that's over you gives. Because they're going to give you enough to make sure that accountability is there in what you need. Okay, so I hope you with me on that, because when a person's accountability is lacking, now I know when the Father's involved, his word is absolute. But when we're dealing with us on a human level, when accountability is lacking, something has gone wrong in the worth and value department. The words or instructions just aren't worth anything. They're not valuable. There's no attachment. There's no sentimental value. There's no impact. So it's a factor there that's causing them not to exhibit the proper accountability. You go back and examine and see if I ain't telling you right. Okay? So we're going to continue on with some more examples that we pull out of the messenger. We want to see how the messenger executed. And do we see any deviation or glitches there? Now, I want you to note, and I put this over here on the side because it's so important. Accountability must have a stake in the words or instructions that were received in order for accountability to reflect the full worth and value of those words and instructions. So if you don't have a stake in it, then you can guarantee your accountability is going to be off. If there's no worth and value, then your accountability is going to be off. Okay, so look here. Moshe was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the back of the wilderness and came to Horeb, a mountain of Elohim. And the messenger of Yahuwah appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of the bush. And he looked and saw the bush burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, "Let me turn aside now and see the great sight, why the bush does not burn." And Yahuwah saw that he turned aside to see, and Elohim called to him from the midst of the bush and said, "Moshe, Moshe." Now, who appeared in the midst of he was a flame of fire in the midst of the bush? The messenger of Yahuwah. So the messenger of Yahuwah is communicating to Moshe on behalf of Yahuwah. Same pattern that you see back when Abraham was going to lift his hand and the messenger called out of Shamaim or heaven and said, "Abraham, Abraham, touch not your son." Then if you remember from last week, we said he called a second time. So the messenger is going to communicate and be accountable for exactly what Yahuwah wants him to say. There's not going to be any deviation. Okay, and he said, "Here am I." And he said, "Do not come near here. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is set apart ground." Now, is that characteristic of something of if the Father's presence is there? Would that be something that's said? Yes. So everything's lining up. And he said, "I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, the Elohim of Yaakov." So this is the messenger speaking on behalf. He's tasked with representing and speaking the words of the Father here in this realm. That's why he's called the Word of Elohim. And we discussed that in our last lesson. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look at Elohim. And Yahuwah said, "I have indeed seen the oppression of my people who are in Mitzrayim, and have heard their cry because of their slave drivers, for I know their sorrow. And I have come to deliver them from the hand of the Mitzrites, and to bring them up from the land to a good spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to a place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. And now see and cry, and now see, the cry of the children of Israel have come to me, and I have seen the oppression with which the Mitzrites oppressed them." So now, what has been the promise? Does what the messenger is saying line up with the promises that have been given all along? Of course, he hasn't deviated. Now, notice here, I put this in here because you have to grasp this concept. Some will grasp it, some won't. But for those to whom is given, may the Father open your eyes. St. John 14:9. Yahushua said to him, have I been with you so long, and you have not known me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. And how do you say, show us the Father? So this concept was actually in the Brit Hadashah. So when we see this, when we see the messenger of Yahuwah talking and representing the Father, his words are so accountable, so exact, so on point. They are the very words that the Father speaks. No deviation. Now, you know how some of us do. You know, we tend to deviate, especially when deviation can work to our advantage. But the messenger wasn't trying to deviate. He knew his mission. And when you're working with accountability, you have to know the mission. You got to know what the instruction and words were. Okay, now we're still in the 3rd chapter. Now we're going to the 16th verse. Go and you shall gather the elders of Israel together and say to them, Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and of Yaakov appeared to me, saying, I have indeed visited you and seen what is done to you in Mitzrayim. Now, go back and remember when we read the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, he sent the messenger Yahuwah. We see him there, the messenger, and then we see the other messengers to go and see what was going on in that city. So if he's saying he's visited, that concept applies. And I say, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Mitzrayim to the land of Canaanite, and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall listen to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the sovereign of Mitzrayim, and you shall say to him, Yahuwah Elohim of the Hebrews has met with us. And now, please, let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness to slaughter to Yahuwah Elohim. So we stand on point. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because now we're going to jump to some of the stuff of them coming out, and you get to see it for yourself. Okay, all of this. Now, when we talk about accountability, if we really wanted to go back and stir the pot, we could go back to Genesis 6. This just crossed my mind. And we could talk about the watchers that came down and that married the daughters of men. All this laid out in the book of Enoch. And how they made vows and oaths together to do this. Their accountability was not there. They did not value the words. But here we focus on the messenger who executes and carries out everything to the T that's given to him. And that's what I'm emphasizing. Following the instructions. Okay, look at Exodus 13:21. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. And the column of cloud did not cease by day, and the column of fire by night before the people. Now, when we go to 14, see, you got to remember that when the messengers, particularly the messenger, is acting on behalf of the Father, the text will use Yahuwah. Because remember in the previous, when we talked about there was a Yahuwah in Shamaim, and the Yahuwah here on earth rained down fire and brimstone, I'll put it, from the Yahuwah that was in heaven. Can't forget that. So Exodus 14:19, and the messenger of Elohim went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them. And the column of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. Isn't this what you're seeing in Exodus 13? And came before the camp of Mitzrayim and the camp of Israel. It was a cloud. It was the cloud and the darkness. And it did give light by night. And the one did not come near the other all the night. Now, I found Exodus 23 very interesting. What you see here. Now, notice what it says. See, I'm sending a messenger before you to guard you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Be on guard before him and obey his voice. Now, this particular instance, it sounds much different than the other instances that we've heard. So go back and read that whole 23rd chapter so you can get a bigger context. Now, notice it says that they should be on guard before him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. Then verse 22. So this messenger has a charge. And his charge is so great that the people need to obey his voice and not rebelled against him, because there would be no forgiveness. Just it's going to be judgment. We see that. It didn't say judgment, but that's what we see when we go back and start reading the accounts. A lot of people lost their lives. But if you diligently obey his voice and shall do all that I speak. So this, you can see that he's saying, I'm speaking through this messenger. So when this messenger says something, he's not just speaking on his own, but he's speaking for me. Then I shall be an enemy to your enemies and a distresser to those who distress you. For my messenger shall go before you and shall bring you into the Amorites, and to the Hivites, and to the Perizzites, to the Canaanites, and to the Hivites, and to the Jebusites. And I shall cut them off. Do not bow down to their mighty ones, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but without fail overthrow them, without fail break down their pillars. And you shall serve Yahuwah your Elohim, and he shall bless you, your bread and your water, and I shall remove sickness from your midst. Powerful accountability. Confidence in the messenger that was going before. See, a lot of times in accountability, we fail to build a good track record. Okay, what is it? Let me give you an example. If you are let's say you're working a job and you always on time, then you've built a record of accountability of being on time. So if one day you have an emergency and you're late, your record of accountability can step up and speak on your behalf to help you in your situation of lateness. But if you have built a record of you just late, what you're telling is, I don't value this place. I don't value what I have. I don't value having a job. So I'm not taking the appropriate steps so I can be here on time. So we've got to build good records of accountability. Okay, let's go to Exodus 32 and 31. And, while we're going through this, the Father gives good word, to that we might not have even thought of if we weren't reading these texts. Okay, and Moshe returned to Yahuwah and said, "Oh, these people have sinned a great sin and have made themselves a mighty one of gold. And now, if you would forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out of your book, which you have written." And Yahuwah said to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I blot him out of my book. And now go, lead the people to the place of which I have spoken to you. See, my messenger goes before you. In the day of my visitation, I will visit their sins upon them." And Yahuwah plagued the people because they had made the calf which Aharon had made. So he wasn't playing with us in the last verses we read. Okay, let's go to 33 and 1. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Come, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought out of the land of Mitzrayim, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, to Yaakov, saying, to your seed I give it. And I shall send my messenger before you, and I will drive out the Canaanites and the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites, Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. For I do not go up in your midst, because you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way. So he had to send his messenger before him. And he said he wasn't going up in the midst because the people are stiff-necked. So ask yourself, how is your accountability? Is it stiff-necked? Do you still want to do it your way? When will you resolve in your mind that you're going to actually submit and do it like you know it, you should do it? And that's what kills me sometimes. People know what they're supposed to do, but they're stiff-necked and rebellious and just won't do it. But guess what? There's a reward for that. So we're jumping over to Numbers 22, verse 22. But the displeasure of Elohim burned because he went. Now, we're going to read this whole story. And we've read it a couple of times before, but the story is very interesting. And you'll see the messenger stays on point. And the messenger of Yahuwah stationed himself in the way as an adversary against him. He was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. And the donkey saw the messenger of Yahuwah standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. The donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back into the way. You know, it's crazy sometimes how we continue to go down the same road when all the signs are pointing, don't go down that road. Don't do that. But we still do it, or we still want to do it. Then the messenger of Yahuwah stood in a narrow passage between the vineyard, with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yahuwah, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. And the messenger of Yahuwah went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn aside left or right. Who's he trying to change? He's trying to change. He's not trying to change that situation. He's trying to change the person. And when the donkey saw the messenger Yahuwah, she laid down under Balaam. So Balaam displeasure burned, and he struck the donkey with his staff. And Yahuwah opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you have stricken me these 3 times? Sometimes we lash out against people that were actually placed in position to keep us from falling. And we think that they're against us. Okay, and notice, and you know, I'm just replacing people with donkey. And Balaam said to the donkey, because you have mocked me, I wish there were a sword in my hand, for I would have killed you by now. And the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey on which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? Was I ever known to do so to you? He said, no. So the donkey had better reasoning than Balaam. Then Yahuwah opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the messenger of Yahuwah standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand. He bowed his head and fell on his face. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times?" No, here's accountability. Even though we might consider the donkey as insignificant in this scenario, the donkey carried great significance, because the donkey actually saved his life. And the messenger questions Balaam because Balaam, because he was blinded, lashed out without proper cause. See, I have come out to stand against you because your way is reckless before me. I want you to go back and think about, and this is for all of us, no matter your position or where you're calling, when we've acted reckless and we actually deserve what was coming our way. You know, we should be very thankful that he spared our lives. But some still walk in a ruach, or a spirit of ungratefulness. You forget, you have forgotten where he brought you from. Your ways have become reckless. You talk without evidence. You accuse without witnesses. But you want him to bless you. And you think he's on your side. But if you open your eyes and open your ears, you would begin to see and hear there's some things you need to correct. And that's why we're on this lesson of accountability, because many that think they're actually living up and being accountable really aren't. But let's keep going. And the donkey saw me and turned aside from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, I certainly would have killed you by now. So he wanted to kill the donkey, but little did he know the messenger was going to kill him if the donkey hadn't turned aside. And the messenger was going to let the donkey live. He wasn't going to kill the donkey. He was going to kill Balaam and let her live. And Balaam said to the messenger, I have sinned, for I did not know you stood in the way against me. Okay, look. This is where you have to see. Some of you don't know that things are going the way they're going because you strayed away. Now, sometimes we go through a trial. Sometimes we go through things because of our own hard-hearted, hard-headed ways and the refusal to listen even after instruction has come. So what does that say about the accountability? The messenger was going to be faithful to his assignment. If the donkey had not turned to the side those 3 times to avoid the messenger, the donkey hadn't taken those actions, Balaam's life would have been extinguished. He would be gone. But the donkey factor was the donkey could see. Sometimes there are people assigned that you don't hold value for, or you don't think they're worth anything, but they've been positioned there to help you navigate. And you might consider them, their value or even their worth is that of a donkey. Something that you could just take their life and it means nothing to you. But them being there, you don't know if they might have prayed for you. They could have been fasting for you. They could have taken prayer to a different level of intercession, for you. And you wonder, you're still here. You've got to consider these things. You look down on them. But them being there has held you in the game, so to speak. So we've got to really start changing our ways. Okay, I have sinned, for I did not know you stood in the way against me. And now, if evil is in your eyes, let me turn back. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to Balaam, go with the men, but only the word that I speak to you, that you speak. And Balaam then went with the head of Balak. Now, if you go back and you read the whole chapter, you'll see Balaam's whole agenda was skewed because he was given instructions not to go in the first place. But he went anyway. So I think if you go back today and read that, it'll minister to you on account, because we're still focusing on the messenger, but that story, I think it'll minister to you. Because sometimes people do things for the wrong reasons, with the wrong motives, with the wrong intentions. Even when it looks right, if you got the wrong intentions behind it, the wrong motive, then it makes what you're doing wrong, even though it looks right. Told you we get many nuggets. Okay, now let's go to Judges chapter 2. And the messenger of Yahuwah came to Gilgal of Bochim and said, I led you up from Mitzrayim and brought you to the land of which I swore to your fathers. And said, I said, I do not break my covenant with you. As for you, do not break a covenant with the inhabitants of this land. Break down their slaughter places, but you have not obeyed my voice. What is this you have done? Therefore, I also said, I am not driving them out before you. They shall be adversaries to you. Their mighty ones shall be a snare to you. And it came to be, when the messenger of Yahuwah spoke these words to all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. So they called the name of the place Bochim, and slaughtered there to Yahuwah. So the messenger was telling them about his accountability. He did exactly what he said he would do, and did not break the covenant. But were they accountable? Did they? They did worse than the inhabitants of the land. They did not obey. So I go again to my thing to the right. Accountability must have a stake in the words or instructions that were received in order for accountability to reflect the full worth and value of those words or instructions. You got to have a stake in it. Okay, look at Judges 6 and 11. And the messenger Yahuwah came and sat under the timbereth tree, which was in Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Arazite, while his son Gideon thrashed wheat in the winepress to hide it from the eyes of the Midianites. And the messenger of Yahuwah appeared to him and said to him, Yahuwah is with you, you mighty brave one. And Gideon said to him, O my master, if Yahuwah is with us, why has all this come upon us? And where are all his wonders which our fathers relayed to us, saying, did not Yahuwah bring us up from Mitzrayim? But now Yahuwah has left us and given us into the hands of the Midians. And Yahuwah turned to him and said, go in this strength of yours, and you shall save Israel from the hands of the Midianites. Have I not sent you? So look at the accountability that the messenger is exhibiting. Even if you start reading Judges, keep going through Judges, chapter 1, 2, 3, and you start, people were doing what was right in their own eyes. They lost all accountability as a people. They were doing what they thought was right, not based on scripture, but based on their own ideology. Now, we got to be careful of that because it's so easy to fall victim. But notice the messenger is still saying the same thing, hasn't deviated. Actions are still on point, still in line to do what the Father told him to do as concerning Israel. Now, I think we got one more story we're going to read. Now, we're going to bring out some other accountability in this because I think it'll really help us. Let me see. Yep. I think we got three more slides. Okay, look at Judges 13 and 1. And again, the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. And there was a certain man from Sorah of the clan of Danites, whose name was Manoah. And his wife was barren, had not born. And the messenger of Yahuwah appeared to the woman and said to her, now who did he appear to? I want you to take note. He appeared to the woman. See now, you are barren and have not born, but you shall conceive and you shall bear a son. And now please guard and do not drink wine or strong drinks, and do not eat any unclean food. For look, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and let no razor come upon his head. For the youth is a Nazarite to Yahuwah from the womb on. And he shall begin to save Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. And the woman came and spoke to her husband, saying, now, I know we ain't got to that part yet, but I couldn't resist. Now, how many of the I know some wives say, oh yeah, I would tell. But would you tell the story exactly like it happened? Okay. Or do you go immediately, or do you wait a couple of days, or do you say, now some say in their mind, well, he was talking only to me, so I didn't really have to share that with my husband. Oh man, you need to get a grip. Everything flows through who you're accountable to, no matter the level. If you're going to exhibit true accountability, there's no hiding, there's no changing, there's no concealing, there's no, well, when I want to. No. See, this is where the value and worth come in. No, I know I ain't gonna get too many fans on that one, but it's all right. It's all good, as they say. I'm gonna teach it anyway. And the woman came and spoke to her husband, saying, a man of Elohim came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of a messenger of Elohim. Very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from. He did not declare to me his name. And he said to me, see, you are conceiving and bearing a son. And now drink no wine or strong drinks, nor eat any unclean food. For the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb to the day of his death. Okay, now look what the Ish does. And Manoah prayed to Yahuwah and said, oh Yahuwah, please let the man of Elohim whom you sent come to us again and teach us what to do for the youth who is to be born. And Elohim listened to the voice of Manoah. Now, it wasn't that he didn't believe his wife. Okay. But if she's saying that this is from Elohim, just like in the Abraham and Sarah incident, when Sarah told Abraham to put Hagar out, who confirmed that? The Father confirmed it. So if she's saying all this, and I'm the head, the Father, he doesn't ignore his protocol. He gonna speak to the Ish too. In spite of what some people might think or say, he doesn't just skip his own protocol he's established. So, but notice what Manoah does. He prays. And it says, Elohim listened to the voice of Manoah, and the messenger of Elohim came to the woman again as she was sitting in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. Now, notice what the woman does. She didn't get upset and get all this. Why didn't you appear to him? No, what did she do? She exhibits a level of accountability, and it's acceptable. It's what's supposed to happen. And the woman ran hurriedly. You see what I'm getting there? And informed her husband and said to him, see, he has appeared to me. So this okay, think about this. She's going to be carrying Shimshon or Samson. And the Ish is going to have to make sure that there's a great understanding that she knows exactly what she has to do, because while she's carrying him, she can't do certain things. Because it said that he's going to be a Nazarite from the womb. So she's going to have to exhibit a level of accountability that's so great that what she's carrying depends on it. So everybody, and especially the Ish, needs to know and understand and hear it for himself. This is all about accountability and proper order. So we probably won't have to cover this one when we get to husband and wife. But since it's here, we're going to touch on it. So I'm going to read verse 10 again. And the woman ran hurriedly and informed her husband and said to him, "See, he has appeared to me, the man who came to me the other day." And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man. And he said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to this woman?" And he said, "I am." And Manoah said, "Now let your words come true. What is to be the rule for the youth's life and his work?" So he asked a question because the head needs to know. So ladies, if the father comes to you, you need to be telling your head, your Ish, your covering, whoever, you need to be sending this up channel. And Manoah said, okay, we read that part. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to Manoah, "Let the woman guard all that I said to her. Let her not eat any food that comes from the vine. Neither let her drink wine or strong drinks or eat any unclean food. Let her guard all that which I have commanded her." So now the head has it. So he's there to reinforce, just in case she didn't hear or might have missed something. He is who she is accountable to. And now the man is accountable to the messenger because he's heard it from the messenger now. So if something goes wrong, who is going to be held accountable first? The man. I know we're running over, but it's good. It's good. It's good. So let's keep. And Manoah said to the messenger of Yahuwah, "Let us detain you and prepare a young kid for you." And the messenger of Yahuwah said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I do not eat your food. But if you offer an ascending offering, offer it to Yahuwah." That's a good point. Don't offer it to me, offer it to the Father. For Manoah did not know he was a messenger of Yahuwah. Then Manoah said to the messenger of Yahuwah, "What is your name?" Yeah, we heard that before. Remember in Yaakov asked what his name was. "When your words come true, then we shall esteem you. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to him, why do you ask my name, since it is wondrous? And Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering, offered it upon the rock to Yahuwah. And he did wondrously when Manoah and his wife looked on. And it came to be, as the flame went up towards the heavens from the slaughter place, that the messenger of Yahuwah went up in the flame of the slaughter place. And Manoah and his wife were watching. They fell on their face to the ground. And the messenger of Yahuwah did not appear any more to Manoah or his wife. Then Manoah knew that it was the messenger of Yahuwah. And Manoah said to his wife, we shall certainly die, because we have seen Elohim. But his wife says to him, remember, she's supposed to be a helpmate, if Yahuwah had been pleased to put us to death, he would have not accepted our ascendant offering and the grain offering from our hands, neither would he have shown us all this, nor would he have let us hear the like of this. So the woman bore a son and called his name Shimshon, or Samson, and the child grew, and Yahuwah blessed him. Man, that's one powerful story right there. But you can see accountability all in that text. Did they have a stake in the words or instructions? Notice, they started out, they gave an offering. They even stated they gave an offering. And then they guarded those instructions that they were given. That's the stake, the offering, and the guarding of, because when we read on, did Shimshon or Samson have supernatural strength? Did he, even though he made mistakes, did he destroy the Philistines as prophesied and told? So I read it again. Accountability must have a stake in the words or instructions that were received, in order for accountability to reflect the full worth and value of those words or instructions. So when you see this, when we get over to the section that pertains to you, let's make sure you have some enthusiasm. Let's make sure we have some honesty. And most of all, let's have some accountability. So what's here in the middle? You got to have a stake. And that stake is going to have worth, and it's going to have value. And if you don't have those, then pretty much you don't have a stake. And you won't be able to flow over into accountability. So I know, it wasn't, we got some stuff out, which was great. I think next week we'll go back and we'll do maybe one, maybe two, but probably just one lesson on Mashiach being the head of man, or Messiah being the head of man. Then we're going to get into the juicy stuff. Let the juicy stuff come on. I'm excited about it. This is good stuff, because everything you see in our society today, all the systems in place, it's all designed to erode accountability as the Father laid it out. And if you're operating outside of his accountability, how he laid out, you need to get it straight. You need to get on track. All righty. Hallelujah. Let's keep it going. Let's keep that fear. If you really fear him, you're going to get it right. We're going to get this accountability thing in order. All right, let's pray, Miss Bakah. Woo, man. I wasn't expecting to go that far over. It's all good. I still got more. But we'll hit it next week. Father, I thank you for the nuggets you've given us in this lesson. Your word is more valuable than gold and silver, more precious than rubies, diamonds. Thank you, Father, for allowing us to sweep our room and find that pearl, that we discovered it, that we sell everything that we've got to possess it and have it. Now I thank you that you're transforming your people, that their ears are becoming more in tune to your frequency. Now those that exhibit a spirit and a ruach of obedience, open the doors they need. And those that are acting in resistance, I pray that you will stand at the door and continually show them that they need to change, or else the door would never open. Thank you, Father, for your kindness. Thank you for your loving commitments to us. And we give you praise, honor, and esteem this day. In the name of Mashiach Yahusha. Hallel to Yahuwah. Amen. All righty, Miss Bakah. So I figure if you need bookmarkers, you can go to bookmarkers.club. Get yours today. I figured I'd give you just in case you haven't been over here, this is our new website, Yahuwah's Army. We're working on next couple of days. I should have our logo up and running, and we're going to be, as you go through it now, this website is not designed to promote immersion or anything like that. It's to promote the commandments in the Father's name. If most of the time, when people get that, it will lead them to the water. You know, sometimes we want to put the cart before the horse, but sometimes you've got to give them the other stuff, the foundational stuff. Because I've seen people get immersed and they just go right back to where they were. So we want to give them the Father's name, get them in the Word, and get them in the commandments, and help them step through. So we'll be doing in subsequent some updated videos on His name. Probably, hopefully before the end of the year, the Hebrew year. It takes time and effort to do those things, and we'll be updating our bookmarker, walking people through the bookmarker for restoring His commandments. So that's our plan. And then to this right here, this vowel pointing, Yahuwah, was actually taken out of a book that a linguist wrote. And I'll be putting more about that on the page as we move forward. So it's not like we're just making stuff up. There's always been a constant effort to hide the name of the Father. And this is what we believe the Father has shown us. Yahuwah. Okay? And, as we go forward, this is where people will come for witnessing. They'll be able to come here to for their prayer requests. And our slogan is Yahuwah.army, righteous strong. That's our slogan. So they'll be able to come here. They can, they can get, be able to get prayer requests. So, that's the whole objective. To see if they click here, they can send in prayer requests if they want to. And eventually we'll have people that'll be a part of our, that we'll, have like a prayer army, so to speak, Hebrew prayer warriors or prayer army, however you want to put it. We'll send the prayer requests out to them, and, they'll be able to get these prayers through so people can see results. And when I say see results, I'm talking about, when depending on the situation, when their prayers are answered, some things might not require prayer. Some things just require obedience. So we'll be able to map that out for them. But this just gives you an idea. Yahuwah's army, righteous strong. That's Yahuwah.army. So we're excited about where this is going to go and how it's going to change our witnessing. Appreciate all those that have constantly passed out bookmarkers. So when we give out all the ones that we currently have and we go through a redesign, we're praying the Father give us exactly what we need so we can step it up a notch. All right. Okay, Hebrew Passover story, of course, is it'll be right around the corner. So make sure you get ready for Pesach. Pesach comes quick. You can go to Amazon, just type in Hebrew Passover story to come right up. All right, Miss Makai, if you haven't, we do have a website where you can fellowship and, engage with others like-minded. We call family. Okay, and that's what our objective is. So you go to livingbranch.app and you can fellowship there. You can put posts, you can chat, do many things. Send up your prayer requests for us, because we steadily trying to make sure we're in His will and doing His purpose. And if you would like to support us monetarily, you can do so by Cash App, PayPal, or there's a online donation. You can do that. It's in the stream. So, whatever the Father puts on your heart. All righty, we've enjoyed it today. Man, we went 20 some minutes over almost. That's good. We do it every now and then. Appreciate all our Maureen for being on today. Maureen Lamar, Maureen Yesharon, Maureen Kanan. Appreciate you. Glad to see you on. And thank all of our Miss Baka for seeing you on. And we're going to enjoy the rest of our Shabbat. So make sure you enjoy it and make it a great Shabbat. And we just praise Yahuwah for another great day. All right, Miss Baka, this is Maury Madad Yahoo saying unto you, Shabbat Shalom, and let's make this the best Shabbat ever. Shabbat Shalom, Miss Baka.